Nice, thanks. I'm like getting ready to say it. You're just like,
That's the intro.
What's up, chums? Sharky here, and welcome back to the Shark Bites podcast. Today I'm joined by KALANI BIRB,
Hey,
formerly known as Ramsey the Goat, if you've been on my channel for a while. So what are we talking about today?
we're gonna talk about tattoos and body mods.
And pain. But first, how about some small talk? How are you today?
I'm still alive.
Same. I'm just kind of surviving, I guess. I won tickets to a hockey game today.
Oh, awesome.
Hockey is one of my newest fascinations if you're new to the channel or just around, I guess. I've always kind of liked hockey, but I recently got really into like going to games and stuff, and they were having a giveaway on Instagram, and I think I was like the only person that entered, and I won.
That's one way to win.
I won 2 free tickets, so I'm going next week, same day, Wednesday. So that'll be fun.
Awesome.
What about
Hopefully
you?
you have fun. I'm still drawing every day.
Yeah,
Not much new.
been trying to get motivation still to draw. All the time I'm like, "Oh, that would be really cool." And then I just don't do it.
I feel that.
I used to do drawing streams. Do you remember those
I do.
on my channel?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
I don't know why I stopped doing those. I think it's really just like time, I
Motivation.
guess. Motivation too, yeah. But even when I was doing them, I would only get like 5, maybe 5 people watching. You
I
being
was
one of
one.
them. Yeah. Yeah. It was usually like you, Vesper, and then like 2 other people or 3 other people that I don't know as well. Which is still better than nothing. I mean, I'm glad, but like I guess the days that I was doing them on didn't work for people, like they were busy working or whatever.
You just picked the worst times.
I tried to switch it up. So like sometimes I would do it on the weekend or during the week, but nobody notices or they are busy.
Or watching some other streamer.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I have overlapped with other streamers before. That didn't go well. Anything else going on with you?
Other than getting my 3D printer.
Yeah, you got a package today.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
filament, not the printer.
It'll be there,
Tomorrow.
maybe.
Don't you jinx it. If you jinx it, I will hunt you down.
What can you do with a 3D printer? I feel stupid for asking that, but
What can you not do?
everybody's probably like, you don't know what a 3D printer is? I know what a 3D printer is, but like, you can make a lot of different things with it.
Oh yeah. That and there's different types of 3D printers too. Like that is a whole thing to get into.
So, like,
Basically, I'm just going to print lots of stupid little stuff to bring joy to my life.
so you can make like figures and stuff,
I
but
actually plan on printing a figure of Sun from the new game.
from Security Breach.
Yep,
Can you make
because I
like
can.
can you make like bigger stuff? I
Oh
guess you'd
yeah,
need more
you just have to
filament.
scale. It does use more filament, and it's a matter of your settings
Mm.
and how much you scale it up. So you could print itty bitty or as big as your printer allows. But
So
the
could
bigger you go, the higher chance you sometimes have for it to fail.
so could you make like a dagger or something?
hmm
Like a
There's actually
cosplay?
prints. There's popular prints going around right now for a collapsible katana. So it literally
Ooh,
prints within itself, and you just like swing it, and it pops open.
that's cool.
hmm
Alrighty. Well, let's get into today's topic. Um, you're getting a new tattoo soon, right?
Yes, it is going to be of the Sun and Moon tarot cards, but also with the Sun and Moon characters from Security Breach because I'm obsessed.
So how big are we talking here?
It's gonna be on, I think it's called the forearm.
Okay. Don't you
Basically, it's
don't
gonna.
you have one on your arm?
I have a Kingdom Hearts one on my right arm.
Oh, okay.
This is gonna be on the left.
Cool.
I
How
look
mu-
forward to it.
how much did they quote you?
He said it shouldn't be any more than 300 at most.
That's pretty good for the I mean,
He's. hmm
assuming that it's going to be like, medium sized.
Yeah, it's not gonna be tiny, but it's not gonna be like huge.
Yeah.
My appointment's not till like May something. I've got it on my board.
Okay. It's not like you're
Super.
getting a back tattoo on your arm.
No, no, not yet.
Okay.
I haven't reached that crazy level for me yet.
I'm thinking about getting my ears pierced again.
Ooh,
And yes, I have space.
that was a question of if there is space.
I have like a gap between on both sides between my lobes and my I guess like second piercing down from the top. Does
Hmm.
that make sense? I don't know what that's called. There's like names for all the ear locations and I can never remember what they are.
Even if you knew the names for it, I wouldn't know what you're talking about.
It's like in the cartilage area, that's all I know. um I don't know if I want to go like to a piercing studio for that. I
Well,
know Claire's
most,
is bad,
yeah,
but
don't do that.
I know, but it's
Just go to a tattoo
easier.
shop or a piercing place that has
Yeah.
good ratings.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty simple like what I'm wanting done.
You'd be surprised how many mess that up, though.
Well, I got stories about my other piercings that we'll get into in a second, but um I haven't had a tattoo done since I lived in Carbondale. It's been a hot minute since I've gotten
Dang,
a
it
tattoo.
has
Yeah,
been a bit.
that was 2016, 2015, somewhere in there.
Dang.
Yeah. And it was a small one. I mean, it was teeny tiny.
You must be feeling the tattoo itch then.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, my last one was it was like a $50 tiny tattoo.
Mm.
I haven't had a big one since the like cross on my arm, but I don't know if I want to go through that again or not.
I When I got my leg tattoo, which I wouldn't say it's like big, but it's not small.
Yeah.
It it's of sardonyx leaning over her hammers from Steven Universe,
Mhm.
or yeah, whatever you call her weapon. But I about fell asleep during that tattoo.
I don't know how anybody can. Like, it's too much for me. Like, I'm not screaming and like begging for mercy, but I'm not falling asleep, that's for sure.
Like it was middle of the day, I was wide awake, and my legs spasming like crazy as he's tattooing. And I'm just like, wow, a nap sounds really good right now.
Well, they do say like, bring snacks, bring a blanket. get comfortable, but you got a little too comfortable, I guess.
I guess.
Oh man. I watched a video on like how to prepare for your session if you're getting like a big tattoo that takes a
Mhm.
long time. They were like, yeah, bring a snack, bring some water, stay hydrated, all this other stuff.
Well, you should stay hydrated.
You should, yeah, but when I showed up to my first big tattoo appointment, I literally just showed up. I probably drank like 2 cans of Monster before I went in there.
So you broke all the rules.
Yeah, I didn't bring any water or anything. Don't do what I did.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that that's a good way to get that's a good way to get lightheaded.
At least I didn't drink like alcohol. I was underage at the time, but
That's how you get stupid tattoos.
still Monster like dehydrates you. So I was not feeling too good in the middle of it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Me neither, looking back on it.
When you want to go back and just smack your past self.
Yeah. I feel you though on like the tattoo bug. Like I really want to get another one, but I feel like I want to get mine fixed cuz I know like I've talked about that before of like even on the channel I've talked about it getting my cross like semi removed and then getting like flowers over it.
Mhm.
Um I just don't have the money for it. Like I don't know when to do that.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't know. It's
Just
like it's always in the back of my mind and I always think about it, but I'm like I don't have money. Like I can't go do it.
just start setting aside a little money here and there for it.
And then I was even wondering like, okay, do I really have to get it lightened? And then I literally went to like 2 tattoo artists and was like, is this too dark like to get a cover up? And they were like, "Oh yeah, definitely." I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Because it's just solid black and they said like, "Yeah, it's too dark. You have to at least get it lightened first."
I don't envy you for that pain.
You've never had a cover up, right?
Nope. I've only got the two for now.
Yeah, my the cross on my arm was a cover up for a previous tattoo that I had. I got a shark on my arm,
Hmm.
which I wish I would have kept because it was a lot smaller and I miss it. I don't know. I kind of went through like a quarter life crisis, I guess you could say, when
I
I was
think we
like
all go through those.
19. I was like, why'd I get this shark on my arm? I want this big black dark thing that I designed on my arm. And now I'm just
And,
like, why did I do this?
and that is why I will never design my own tattoos.
If you're
Because I,
wanting if any of you listening are wanting to get a tattoo, really think about what you want before you get it.
yeah, I always look at the design and I'm just like, I wait a few months because it's like, if I'm not sick of it by then, I'll be fine with it.
I know it's a cliche of, everybody says that, like, oh, take 3 years thinking about it before you get it. But honestly, it's true because if you impulse it and you get it and then you hate it, you're stuck with it until you can afford to get it changed.
My Kingdom Hearts one on my arm, I waited like 8 years on that one because
Yeah,
it was my first tattoo.
that's smart. I mean, it's get something that you're not gonna hate, you know, somewhere
And
down
it's
the line.
and it's funny because when I do sub work, if an older person sees it, they think it's religious.
Really?
I have no idea how. I guess
What?
something about the words on it, they're just like, "Oh, that sounds religious."
That's kind of funny because, like, mine is religious, but everybody thinks it's a squid.
I can kind of see that.
Like when it's upside down, when I have my arm facing a certain
Hmm.
way, they're like, "Is that an octopus?" I'm like, "No."
No, it
I
is not.
I'm just getting tired of explaining it to people. That's why I want it changed.
I can understand that.
Cuz nobody like ever notices like what it actually is unless I explain it. But if it's flowers, if I got to change to hibiscus flowers, everybody be like, "Oh, I know what that is."
It's a flower.
So you don't have to ask any questions.
No, you'll still get stupid questions.
Yeah, is that a flower?
What kind of flower is that? What's the meaning?
Or like somebody comes up to you and is like, "Did you draw that?
Yeah, I drew it with Sharpie this morning.
Did you do your own tattoo?" I mean, some people do, but I don't know how to
Yeah,
tattoo.
yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for the stupid questions.
nah, nobody told me about that side of getting a tattoo.
That and I've actually lost opportunities for a job or two before just because of my arm one.
See, I just think that's so old school.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, I can understand like a full face sometimes
Or something that's like
offensive.
extremely noticeable or, yeah, or offensive. Like it's very
Yeah,
in your face.
which even then, depending on what it is, that
Yeah,
doesn't
true,
mean the
yeah.
person can't do the job.
Yeah,
And in fact, that person might be better than the well dressed, clean person next to them.
definitely. Like regardless of what the tattoo is of, I mean it has nothing to do with your work performance or like ability. People
Yeah,
still
I
like, sorry, go ahead.
I had in a job interview, I had my arm tattoo. Was still pretty fresh. I don't even remember what place it was. The lady was not the brightest. She was like, "Oh, can you get that covered up or removed before you start your job?"
Yeah, let me just crap $1,000 real quick.
I just looked at her. I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Oh, well, you'll have to use either makeup or wear long sleeves." I'm like, "I'm not wearing long sleeves in the middle of summer." And I just walked out.
Yeah, I don't want this job. See ya.
I don't feel like dying in the middle of 100-degree heat.
Does she not realize that getting tattoos removed is expensive?
She also told me, because it was a few days after I had dyed my hair, you need to get that changed. You need to bleach it out. I'm like, I'm not killing my hair.
Once again, money and time consumption, regardless of how rude she's being. Like, that doesn't make sense.
It was for a gas station.
Make it make sense.
It was to work at a gas station, too.
That is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. Because there's people weirder than you walking in there.
Yeah. You know the town I live in.
Yes, yes, I do. Was it Casey's?
No.
Oh, okay, I was about to say.
I think
Um,
I'm going to be good and not call them out
okay. Yeah, that's
this
probably
time.
that's probably for the best.
This time.
There was something else I was gonna say. Oh, I've seen people on TikTok say that they still get asked if they've been to prison because they have tattoos.
What?
I'm like, how old are the people that are asking you?
Are we not past that yet?
Apparently not. People still get
Oh
asked
my.
that.
The only reason I could see someone ask that is if you had like the little dot or something by the eye that's like commonly used in movies for
Are you are you a
prisoners.
are you a felon? When are you going back to jail?
Are you going back to jail for your next tattoo?
Yeah, yeah. Like,
Yeah, right after I punch you.
I'd be like, I've never been to prison. What are
Keep
you
asking these
talking about?
stupid questions and then I will be.
You're gonna send me to prison. I gotta tell you my piercing story.
Yes.
So, first of all, okay, do you have any piercings at all?
I wait till you get my piercing story. My left side, the upper part of my ear was pierced.
So like the cartilage part?
Sure.
You know, like the hard crunchy part.
Yeah, it wasn't like on the inside where like the ear starts to fold. It
Oh,
was just the ear.
okay.
You
Well,
tell yours first.
okay, I'm gonna tell mine first. So I basically did everything wrong with my ears. Like all of the earrings I've ever had, I screwed everything up and did all the things they
How?
tell you not to do. Well, okay, let me just start from the beginning. So, I got my ears pierced for the first time when I was about 7 or 8, and I consented to it. Like, I told my mom, I was like, I want my ears pierced. So, of
Okay.
course, she took me to Claire's because
Oh no.
piercing studios will not pierce children because it's
Mhm.
like, immoral or something. There's
I
I
mean,
think
there's a few out there that do, but
isn't there like a law about it? I don't know.
uh, I, now for ear piercings, especially if it's just the bottom lobe, they
Yeah.
some places will still just do it. Yeah, there just has to be release papers and stuff signed.
Oh, like a parent
But
slip.
like the parent consents to this and they know like about the care and yeah, all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But okay, so she took me to Claire's because that was just kind of the thing you did back then if you wanted your ears pierced. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
So I got them done, and things were going fine. I was using the like saline stuff that they give you,
Mhm.
and I was playing around with my sister. We had like a basement at our house, and we used to like play with toys and stuff down there until we got bored and then went upstairs.
Mhm.
And we were kind of like play fighting, and she pulled my one of my earrings out of my earlobe.
Ow. No.
Somehow it didn't tear my lobe, but like the earring
Wow.
completely fell out, like it was ripped out of
Oh
my
my god.
ear, and I got an infection, and
Unsurprisingly.
yeah, I lost the earring. I never knew what happened to it. It landed in the basement somewhere, but
It still lives in the basement to this day.
and I was like, well, I have an infection in this ear, so like I can't put anything in it. So I might as well take the other one out and just let them close up. So that's what I did. I took the other earring out because I didn't want one earring, like I wanted two. I kind of
Yeah.
wish I would have left it in though. But so yeah, I took them both out. And then a couple years later, I think I was a teenager. I was like 13. I was like, Mom, I want to get my ears pierced again. And she was like, okay.
Because
You,
that went so great the first time.
yeah, she was like, you know what happened last time? I'm like, I know, but like we're older now and we don't play fight as much anymore. So we went back to Claire's, of course, and I got them pierced
Oh god.
again. I got them pierced again. They both closed up. Like, I took him out when I was sleeping because I'm an idiot,
Mhm.
and they both closed up. They got infected. I had to take them out. It was painful. Like, it was real bad. So,
Do you not learn your lesson?
no, it gets better. Let me
Oh my god.
let me continue. So I had to take that pair out and let them close up. And I want to say when I was a freshman or a sophomore in high school, I was like, third time's the charm, right?
No.
So I went with my, she's now my ex friend, but she was like my best friend at the time. We went
Mhm.
we went to Claire's again.
Oh my god. You don't learn.
We went back to Claire's and I got my cartilage done. So I got, but here's the kicker. I got 4 piercings in the same day, all with like the same gun.
Next time I see you, I'm smacking you.
Okay. So like I had 2 people on each side of me. So they did like, it's like a staple gun basically.
Yeah.
So they did like the top 2 at the same time and then they did the bottom 2 at the same time, but I got a total of 4 earrings. And they did get infected. But you know
Of
what?
course.
I was like, I've come this far. I'm not letting this go. So I left them in. I just kept cleaning them, but I left the earrings in. And eventually, like 3 years later, they healed fine. And I could wear normal earrings in them at that point.
I'm
But
just shaking my head.
I'm not done. So there's there's
Oh my god.
there's more. So I got okay, so Claire's only pierces with like an 18. I think it's like an 18 or a 20 gauge. It's tiny.
Mhm.
It's like a tiny regular earring.
Please tell me you didn't go back to Claire's.
No,
Okay.
I went to Spencer's.
That's not better.
So I took out my tiny like 18, 20 gauge earrings from Claire's and I got some hoops that were 14 gauge and shoved them through my ear
Oh no.
cuz I wanted that earring. So I think I got like a pack of a 16 gauge and then I got a pack of 14s and then so I just kept like sizing up to a 14. So like I shoved the 16s through first and then I shoved the 14 gauge through
Oh my gosh.
in my cartilage of all things. Like not lobes, like actual cartilage. And
Yeah. Oh
it
my god.
healed. It healed. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but it healed fine. And now I wear 14 gauge in those holes, but I have more to the story.
This doesn't get any better.
So that's the end of the story for my top 2 cartilage piercings on each side. We're done with those.
Uh-huh.
Did it wrong the whole time.
Very.
um so after a while I was like, "Oh man, I would love to get my lobes redone because
Oh no.
I hadn't had my lobes re-pierced since the second time they got ripped out or whatever or healed up, whatever." Um you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know what you mean.
the words are escaping me. Like they got infected, closed up, whatever. So when I was in high school, I think, or maybe it was early college, my sister, Taylor, my middle sister,
Mhm.
she bought some 14 gauge needles,
Oh
like
no.
like piercing needles that you can buy like on Amazon and stuff.
This isn't going where I think it's going, is it?
She pierced my lobes for me
God dang it.
and I haven't had any issues with them. Like they healed totally fine. I still got them. No
Oh my
infections.
gosh.
Um yeah. And then like so that's all the bad stuff. And I'm going to end on a good note. So all of my piercings are healed. They're fine. They're not infected anymore. Like they're all fine. Um when I moved to Texas during 2020, during the height of the bad stuff, um I went to a tattoo and piercing place that was still taking appointments during, you know,
The end of the world.
the end of the world and which surprised me because it's like a sterile like environment. I was kind of surprised that they were still doing appointments. Um, but I got something that I've always wanted. I got my industrial piercing with them, and I love it. Like, it is hands down my favorite piercing out of all of them that I got. And it took about 2 years to fully heal,
Hmm.
but I love it.
At
And that's
least you
the end.
finally went. At least you finally went to the proper place in the end.
Yes, I did get that one done. Not at Claire's. Claire's doesn't even do those, but I was proud of the way it turned out. It looks good.
So, before I tell mine, I remembered a story from something that happened in high school. People would give each other piercings in the bathroom.
That does not surprise me because we had similar stuff going on at mine.
Like, they would sneak in lighters and they'd heat up, like, whether it was like just some type of sharp object, basically, and they'd stab people wherever and give them piercings. I
Yeah,
remember,
that doesn't actually sterilize it.
no, it doesn't, but they thought it did.
Yeah, I think wasn't it from that movie, The Parent Trap or whatever?
I have no idea.
Because I thought they like did that in that movie, and then everybody started doing that.
Possibly. I just remember someone in one of my classes, I was like, "You're not gonna do it, are you?" "Yeah, I am." And because she wanted snake bites, I think.
What?
It, so it got infected. Bad.
Snake bites are like in your lip.
Uh huh.
So wait, hold on. They're putting an earring or like just something sharp in your lip.
I think it was like a safety pin and just stabbed it through
Oh my
and then
god.
quickly fed the earring in.
Oh, that's so gross.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. How did that go?
She got an infection.
Yeah. Enjoy your infection.
Mhm. A year later she got her piercing the proper way, I think.
That's so nasty though. To like shove somebody's nasty earring in your freshly pierced lip.
Same friend, uh, when she was living at a friend's house, this was about a year after high school. No one would tell me the guy's name because she was like, "Oh, you want to go with me and get my tattoo?" Okay. Or however she phrased it. So I show up to her place and I'm like, there is a bed, well, not a bed, but like almost like a massage table set up in the tiny living room. She's laying down. Some guy I've never seen before is at the foot of it, tattooing her foot.
Oh
I'm
god.
like, hi. And he just barely nods at me. And then she's like, yeah, this is anonymous.
Oh my gosh, anonymous.
I was
Oh,
stupid. I didn't leave right at that moment.
r-
Then some people came over and it became 420 and I quickly left.
oh my god. That's so shady and
And then
sus.
they went back to tattooing after everything turned green.
Ew.
Well, I don't want to get you in trouble saying it, so
That's okay. I know what you mean.
yeah,
That
yeah.
kind of reminds me of my of a tattooing story that I have. But before I forget this, I wanted to say after I got my industrial bar piercing, trying to put my fursuit head on to do videos after getting that done was impossible. It hurt so bad. It was so tender.
I
I
bet.
People who like were on the channel during that time know that I was only doing like face cam videos during that time because
I remember.
I couldn't put my fursuit head on. I was so mad. For like a good solid year I couldn't put it on.
Now, I will say, when I was in 7th grade, my mom took me to Claire's because I'd said I wanted my ears pierced. Now, I didn't know about, getting them at, tattoo places or whatever. I got tired of them pretty quick and just took them out. No infection or anything. About, I'd say, a year or two later, uh, one of my mom's friends was over, and she had that upper part of her ear pierced. I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." And I asked my mom, like, "Hey, could I get something like that done?" My mom's friend looks at me and goes, "Oh, I can do that for you. I did
Oh,
mine."
oh no.
So she comes back over a little later. I've got the earring from when my ear was pierced because it has a sharp end.
hmm
And yeah, we used the stuff like to clean it. We didn't use fire. Like we properly cleaned it. We held an ice pack to my ear to numb it. My mom chopped a potato. We put that behind my ear,
I have never
and then
understood that.
my mom's friend said, "Ready? 1, 2, 3," and she stabbed it through, and that was it. And I had that piercing for years.
Wait, so she used an earring?
hmm Yeah, from when I had my ears done at Claire's, but I took those
Oh.
out and I just put them in a jar.
Don't they have like a sharp
hmm
backing?
Yeah, they're sharp. That's why we used it.
I mean, that doesn't make it any better, but
Honestly, it didn't hurt.
at least it wasn't like one of those blunt ones, because people have done that, like shoved a blunt earring through their
No,
ear.
she said if I didn't have one, she would go back to her house and find uh an earring that was sharp, or we wouldn't do it.
Still, none of that is really, truly sanitary.
Eh,
But
but
I'm glad you didn't get an infection though. That's good.
nope.
Should I?
Honestly, the longest part was just us being like her trying to find out which was the straight side to put the earring on
Oh.
because she
Yeah.
didn't want to accidentally mark me as gay. Plot twist years later.
I was like, the straight side. What? I
It
get it.
yeah,
Should I share my tattooing stories?
do it.
Or do you want to go?
I'll go first this time.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm on a roll.
You are. Go ahead.
I'd never been in a tattoo shop, and when I went to set the appointment, I didn't really get a look around at the place. I just knew like they were good. And it was for my Kingdom Hearts one, which, it's a Paopu fruit and it's got some words, which are all spelled correctly.
That's good. That's very important.
Yeah.
I've seen some
And
very bad memes.
no regrets.
No regrets.
But when I was getting my tattoo done, I had to wait in the lobby for a minute while he finished setting up. And I'm just sitting there, and there's naked ladies and all this other stuff as art. And I'm just sitting there like a deer in headlights. I'm like, what? And we go back there, and I'm just laying back on the bed. And honestly, I think it was just the angle he was holding his tattoo machine because I could feel
Mhm.
heat. Other than that, it really didn't hurt. And he kept saying, you're going to want more tattoos after this. I'm like, no, one and done. Plot twist years later.
For anyone that is curious, it never stops with one.
It never does. It truly is an addiction.
Because we both said that. Because
hmm
I said that too. I was like, nah, I just want one, and then I'm good. Nah.
I've got so many tattoos planned.
Now I've got like 4.
Now, I was working at this terrible boutique when I got my second one, and I went to a shop that was closer to it so I could just pop into work afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
He got the line art and half the coloring done, and I was getting called and yelled at to come into work.
Oh my god.
So I had to leave. And the guy was so sweet. Like, he even set up on a day that he doesn't work and that the shop is closed on Sundays, and he opened it so he could finish my tattoo.
Why have you always had crappy jobs?
That's a topic for another
Okay,
podcast.
we'll make that another video.
I've got stories.
Another episode.
But and recently whenever I went to set up this appointment, my I went with my friend, which we've got a tattoo plan together in the future. My friend Bunny.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just looking around at the art and I'm just like, wow, look at all the naked ladies. But she had to get an ink test done to make
Mm-hmm.
sure she wasn't allergic.
I've never met anybody that's allergic.
She is very sensitive to a lot of stuff, but luckily she wasn't to this.
Like, I'm curious, like, what in, I guess, the ink makes them allergic.
I do have a slight allergy to the like red spectrum of colors.
Hmm.
So like kind of reds and oranges, because on my leg it's got a lot of red and orange.
Yeah.
So during some weather, like during the summer, it gets itchy. But it's not like hives, it just my leg gets a slight puff, but not even noticeable,
Mm-hmm.
and I have to slap it because it itches,
Yeah, never scratch a tattoo, only slap.
especially when it heals.
Yeah.
But about all I got for my tattoos so far. Both experiences were good, and other than being a deer in the headlights at the first one,
All of mine went okay, I guess. I mean, I don't have anything like outstandingly horrific or anything. Um,
your arm didn't fall off.
my arm didn't fall off. I didn't pass out. Um, the day that I got my cross, which if you guys don't know, it's my largest tattoo that was a cover up. Um, it was almost like a bad omen cuz like it was raining and thundering outside
You
and
should have walked away.
there was only like two people in the shop. It was like a
Oh
horror
no.
movie. It was literally like a horror movie. I was
Did you
like,
go to one of the shops around here for that one?
no, I went to that's the other part of my story. So, I guess what got me interested in getting tattoos was my ex-friend that I mentioned earlier that went with me to Claire's to get my piercings. She was a bad influence on me. I'm just gonna
I
say
can tell.
we did not have a very positive friendship. But anyway, um her mom knew this guy that worked at this place.
Oh
It was one of
no.
those
Oh
where
my god.
where like so it was her mom's tattoo artist that like agreed to do mine, and I think my ex-friend even like helped me pay for it because it was like $150 or whatever, and I was, a broke college student at the time. I was in community college and I was like, I don't have any money. Like, I had a part-time job, but like I needed help paying for it because I didn't have it. But
Because tattoos are pricey.
yeah, I learned that.
Especially if you get a good one.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like top of the line, but so the guy that did my cross tattoo, he had a very bad habit of like coming to work high. Like
Oh no.
he did the 420 a lot,
Oh no.
and I'm not saying that's bad. Like, I'm not judging people that, smoke, but when you're trying to focus on doing somebody's tattoo that's going to be on their body for the rest of their life, it's probably not a good idea to be high. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
considering my friend when she got her foot tattooed, the guy had just had a lot of the 420.
Yeah. Let me just say that the lines are not very straight on my tattoo. They're very like bumpy and wonky. I had a lot of blowout of ink on
Ooh,
like the outline and stuff.
he dug the needle, huh?
Yeah, like hard, because you can see it if you look at it
Yeah.
closely. Um, so that was, yeah, like I guess not a good decision. And then I guess my only other thing is that when I got the palm tree on my leg, he made it bigger than what I wanted. He made it like 2 times bigger
Oh no.
than like the I gave him like a printout of like what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and he sized it up like twice on the stencil, and I guess it was to get like the detail of the leaves of the palm tree in there, I guess, but like
You can do small tattoos with detail.
I know, I don't he charged me for a bigger tattoo than what I wanted, cuz it
He just wanted extra money.
probably, yeah. No, this place is shady. I will never go back there again. Like they were super like all of their workers always came to work high, and like they were overcharging people for stuff. But all I got was like a blue palm tree with the moon. Like it's basically the South Carolina flag or whatever.
Hmm.
Um but he made it bigger and then charged me 75, which is like the bigger price. And I could pay it. I had the money, but I was like, I'm not tipping you as much because I feel cheated a little bit.
Which a lot of people actually don't know. If your artist does a good job, tip them.
Oh yeah, yeah,
See,
definitely.
I didn't know that at first. I just thought, oh yeah, it's like when you get a haircut, you just pay it. And if you want to tip them, you tip them.
Well, and me being a broke college student, I mean, I barely had money for the tattoo, but I did give him like a little bit of a tip, but I was still like mad about the price. So
Uh, I bet.
I think I only gave him like $10. I don't remember. But I like that tattoo. I mean, it turned out good. I just wish it was a little smaller, but it's not a big deal.
Gives you an interesting story.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't really have all of my tattoos are pretty blown out now. Like the ink is pretty like blurred and stuff.
The
And I
one on
know
my arm
I
has
know
held
that
up
happens.
amazing.
That's good. How long ago did you
Consider,
get it?
I want to say it was like 2016 or 2017.
So around the time we met,
Uh,
cuz we met in 2017.
okay, then I got it before that. Uh, Probably 2015 then?
Okay.
Because I know I had it like a year or two before I met you.
I know they say like every like I don't know 3 to 5 years to, like get it touched up or whatever, but I don't have money for that.
Think me being vampire pale helps that my colors have lasted.
That's true, yeah. I didn't think about that. Honestly, I think it's just like the reason I have so much ink blowout is just because I had cheap tattoo artists that didn't really know what they were doing.
Well, if you end up getting another tattoo when you're down here, I know the perfect shop that's not shady.
I went to for my heart on my wrist, I went to Tough Luck Tattoos in Carbondale.
That's where I got my leg one.
Really?
Uh huh.
They do a lot of like traditional style work there.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it didn't come out quite as good, but I still like it. My friend Bunny actually designed it.
The guy that did the heart I wanted it in red. I told him right off the bat, I was like, I know red bleeds a lot sometimes, but like I have to have it in red because I was obsessed with Markiplier back then. Like I was just getting into his videos and stuff,
Mhm.
and I wanted to like dedicate that tattoo to him and like all of his charity work and stuff. And
I mean, it's not bad.
I was like, I gotta get it in red, and the guy was like, it's not gonna look the same in, however many years, like it's gonna blow out. And I was like, I don't care, I just want it. And it blew out. He was right. I should have listened.
No. I
Like
think my tat
the
Oh, go on.
the entire left side of it is like thicker than the other side.
I mean, you can always get it kinda touched up and a little added to it to make it look even cooler.
Honestly, I think I'm just gonna get it removed.
Eh. I think my tattoo that I have the appointment for is the one that has the most meaning out of all my tattoos.
Your which one?
The one I'm gonna be getting,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
that one's actually got a lot of meaning compared to the other two.
Yeah, I didn't really.
There's nothing wrong with getting them on a whim, just I'm
I
just the
like.
type that like to have meaning with them.
No, I totally. I'm the same way. I don't like to just get a tattoo to get a tattoo. Like I think about it and plan it, put meaning behind it.
Yeah, because my Kingdom Hearts one, uh, well, that was the first game I really latched onto,
Yeah.
and it's actually part of what really got me into art. So I'd just gotten the Papu fruit with one of the quotes from it.
Nice. Mine mine don't have like really deep meanings or anything. Um I guess like my palm tree and my moon. I was born in South Carolina, for those of you who don't know. Um I'm not technically from there cuz we didn't live there very long, but I was born there. So and I like the design of their flag, so I got that tattooed. And then I have a like a Jesus fish on my hand and a cross that I drew, but I people always think it's like an octopus or something when it's upside down. And then the Markiplier heart on my wrist. And that's it.
The one I'm gonna be getting, because it's gonna be the Sun and Moon tarot cards. The sun represents happiness, rebirth, renewal, and just all things positive. Whereas the moon can represent beauty, but also deceit, liars, deception. So the sun's going to be slightly on top of the moon one to represent my happiness now and getting past trauma and stuff from the past. And then
Interesting.
I got sun and moon from security breach because uh me and my husband were going through a terrible time when the first few FNAF games came out. And I had just got into Markiplier and I saw him. I'm like, why not? Let me watch them, see what this is. And I got him watching it, and it kind of saved our relationship in a way.
Aw.
So I figured I already love Sun and Moon from Security Breach, so they fit the cards. I'll have them on it.
I like how you have like game related tattoos.
Well, my Steven Universe one isn't.
Well,
I just really love.
like
Yeah,
geek culture, I guess.
yeah.
I like that.
Well, and the tattoo artist I'm going to, he's all about like anime, games, and other nerd and geek culture tattoos. He's trying to
Nice.
tattoo a palm-sized Pokemon of the original 100. I forget. however many, but he's wanting to tattoo all the original.
Cool.
Hmm.
I guess I I guess I could talk about what I want for my cover up. I've already talked about it on the channel, but I don't know if I've told you or not.
I'm not sure.
I basically want hibiscus flowers, which they're my favorite flower anyway, but they kind of symbolize like a new chapter in my life basically because all of my old tattoos on my arm are kind of I want to put them behind me. Like it's really I got them when I was still figuring out like, who I am and like, what I wanted to represent me, I guess.
Yeah.
And some of it honestly because I was friends with, my ex-friend I was talking about, like I really didn't feel good about getting them because I felt like I was pressured, but also like it's kind of a reminder of her because we went together a lot to get tattoos.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I really just want something to cover all of that and represent like who I am now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it is related to my persona because I did like join the fandom and I met, you and Ree and Vesper, and it was all during the time when I was like making my Sona, and that flower kind of represents, like that part of my life, and I want that instead of, my past, I guess.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So it's more positive.
It reflects you now.
Yeah. I just need money to do it. But yeah,
Start crunching out those commissions.
I know. Um, we're almost about at an hour here. Did you want to add anything?
Nothing I can think of.
I have I have a little something we could talk about that's kind of related. It's kind of on topic.
Go for it.
How's your pain tolerance?
Depends.
Since we're talking about, like piercings, tattoos, whatever.
Well, like I said, my leg one, I wanted to fall asleep. But if I stub my toe, I want to curl up on the floor and cry.
So I guess my question is, what is the most painful thing you've ever felt?
Ooh. The first thing that comes to mind is when my foot got cut open by glass and I had glass in my foot for 2 days.
Ooh.
And then my mom had to cut my foot more to pull the glass out.
Oh man, I couldn't even handle that for splinters, let alone glass.
And the tweezers would not grasp it. So,
Oh no.
so glass wiggling around in my foot.
Ooh, ow.
Because I've never had stitches or a broken bone.
Me
Knock on
neither.
wood.
Me neither.
Uh,
I did get glass in my hand one time though.
mm,
Um not the most painful by far not, but it was odd because I was like, is there something in my hand? Because I couldn't see it, like it was invisible.
mm-hmm.
Because it's tiny, like tiny shards of glass. Um, a rock hit the back windshield of my dad's car, and it basically shattered, and he had all of this glass in his back seat. And there was like a basket of toys or something back there that he was donating, and I reached into the basket to like pull out a toy, and my entire hand was like covered in glass shards,
Ow.
and I had to like hold it under the light to shine them and then like pick them out with tweezers. It was so painful.
Uh,
And it felt weird. Like it felt like I had little tiny stickers in my hand.
Uh,
But I've had way more painful things happen to me.
I've been shot by a BB gun. That
Ooh,
hurts.
leave a
My
bruise.
Yeah, my brother. Because when I had the carpet removed to my bedroom,
Hmm.
there was a little gap under my door. My little brother, being a pest, and he's a paramedic now. Uh, when he was little, he hadn't BB gun, airsoft gun out. No.
Hmm.
If I had friends over, he would stick it under and he'd start shooting.
Oh,
So we'd have to go over and hold the door shut because I didn't have a lock. And we'd have to try and stand on stuff because he shot me in the foot, in the knee, in the leg.
see, I don't think they should sell those anymore.
No, they shouldn't.
It's
What
teaching children how to
I think
shoot
it
people.
I think it's payback for when okay, I was only like 5 or 6 when this happened. Yeah, I was like 6. My brother, because at the old house my family lived at, same brother, he would try and climb into my room, and I didn't like him getting into my stuff. So I had tossed him out over the gate, and I was trying to drag him away, and he grabbed onto the wall. So I yanked him and pulled his arm out of socket.
Oh my gosh, I did the same thing to my sister.
He still brings it up to this day.
I gotta tell my story now.
Do it.
So my sister and I, like before my other sister was born, and it was just me and the middle one. Um, we used to do like this thing where like I would give her a piggyback ride, and then I would run through the house.
Safe.
Oh yeah, very safe. And I would fling her onto her bed while running.
I see where this is going.
Very safe. So this one time we were doing that, and I threw her a little too far, and she went like there was a crack between her bed and the wall, and I
Oh
threw her.
no.
I we were playing, like she was laughing until this happened. So I
Yeah,
threw
she wasn't laughing for long.
I threw her into the crack, and she got stuck. So the genius that I am, instead of pulling the bed out from the wall to help her, I grabbed her arm and just pulled, and was trying to pull her out of the crack. And all of a sudden, she just starts crying and screaming bloody murder. And I was like, "What? What's wrong?" Like I'm like a 5-year-old child. I don't know what's happening. And cuz she was like I think 2 at the time, and I was like 5 or 6, whatever. And my mom comes like running into the room, and she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I don't know." And it turns out, so we went to the ER, and it turns out that I pulled her arm out of her socket, and we took her to the ER, and they just popped it back in, and then gave her like a sticker or something. And nobody told me what happened. So I'm thinking, like, is she dead? Did I kill her? Like, what is going on? Because all I remember is like her screaming in the car all the way there. And then she comes out and she's fine. And I was so confused because my mom didn't tell me that that was what happened until years later when I was like a teenager. She's like, "You remember that one time you pulled your sister's arm out of her socket?" I was like, "No." And then I thought I had broken her arm. Like I thought like her arm was actually broken, but it just popped out of socket. But they fixed it. Easy peasy.
My brother, he ended up having to sleep with his arm out of socket because my parents didn't. They're like, huh? They didn't realize what happened.
Ooh.
My
Yeah.
parents are good parents, but
Oh my
and
gosh.
my grandma comes over the next day to watch him, and it's like, you need to take him to the ER. His arm is out of socket.
They were like, we do? It
But
is? Well, I'm assuming his arm is fine now.
yeah, and he still holds it over my head. That and the fact that I went to Disney and he didn't.
Uh,
He wasn't born yet. He couldn't go.
so I guess to wrap up, I'm gonna share my most painful experience.
Go for it.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with glass. Um, when was that? I'm trying to think. I want to say it was about 2016, and I was visiting my parents, but like I lived in Carbondale at the time because I was going to SIU.
Okay.
So I lived in Carbondale, but I was visiting my parents in Bloomington for like, for spring break or something like that, or winter break. I don't remember which. But I was sitting on my bed editing a video actually. And I remember exactly what video it was. It was
Because you were just so traumatized.
honestly, yeah, like I remember exactly what I was doing when it happened, but it was a video review on Telltale's The Walking Dead Part 3.
Hmm.
And I was doing like an audio only review. But anyway, so all of a sudden I was sitting on my bed and I felt like this really sharp pain in my side. And you know how you get that pain sometimes, like you just get like a weird like growing pain or something in your side,
My life is pain, so yes.
but it like goes away after a little while.
Usually, yeah.
At first I thought it was that. I thought maybe like, oh, maybe it's a cramp or like I just sat weird on my bed and I just had a sharp pain. So I stood up. Usually if that happens, if I stand up and like stretch it out a little bit, I'm fine. But it like did not go away when I stood up and it got worse. Like it felt like somebody stabbed me in the kidney, like the
Mm,
back like side area. And I went to tell my mom. I was like, "Mom, I'm having like this really weird pain in my side." And by that time, like it was noticeable, but it wasn't like, I wasn't on the ground like crying yet.
mm.
But she was like, "Oh, maybe just take like some ibuprofen or something." So I did, and it didn't go away. It didn't help at all. And I let it go on for about 2 days, and it didn't stop. Like it just kept getting worse, and it got to a point where I couldn't like do anything. Like I was on the couch and like about to cry. Like that's how painful it was. And
Mm.
I started throwing up. Like,
That's not a good sign.
I know, I was like, what is happening right now? Because, like, 2 days earlier, I felt totally fine. And then I got this sharp pain, and, like, I started, like, throwing up. I couldn't eat. Like, I couldn't hold anything down. So my mom took me to the ER. Well, not, it wasn't the ER, it was, like, the clinic or whatever. Um, like, they can get you in quickly, but it's not necessarily, like, the emergency.
Urgent care.
Yeah, basically, because my parents didn't want to pay the ER fee, so we went to the we
Understandable.
went to the urgent care instead. So anyway, so I had to sit in the waiting room for a little bit, and then um it was bad. Like I could not like sit down or stand up without pain, and I was trying not to like get sick from how painful it was, like throw up.
Yeah.
And I told the nurse, like the nurse was asking me all these questions, like, oh, is it, do you feel this? Do you feel this? Blah blah blah. The routine list of things that they read to you. And I was like, I don't know. Like it came out of nowhere. I was trying to like talk to the nurse, but I was getting angry because I was like, I am in serious pain. Like I can't even talk to you right now. That's how painful it is. And they debated for like a long time whether to give me something, like give me like medication, like painkillers
Yeah.
or whatever. And I understand like they don't want to just dish that out immediately.
Yeah.
But I was sincere about it. I was like, please just give me something. I can't even like focus on what you're asking me. I can't sit down. I can't stand up. I can't move right now. And I'm like crying in pain. And so they gave me a shot in my butt of like the good stuff. It was like a really strong painkiller. It has a name, I'm sure, but I don't remember what it was. And all of my pain subsided. Like I did not feel anything. I felt totally fine. I felt normal after that.
Hmm.
And they were like looking at me, and like pushing on stuff and like, does this hurt? Does this hurt? I'm like, no, not now. So they really could not figure out what it was. Like they suggested a CAT scan because they thought maybe it was a kidney stone, which I've never
Mm.
had a kidney stone before, and they were explaining it to me. And I was like, whatever you think, you know, to figure out what it is. So I went and got the CAT scan, which was a pretty penny. That costed quite a bit.
I
Um
bet.
Thankfully my mom had good insurance at that time, but um so I got the CAT scan done and they did not find anything. There was nothing. I didn't have a kidney stone. They couldn't find anything, like they couldn't find anything wrong. And I'm just like, I'm in the worst pain of my life and you can't find anything wrong? Like, are you serious? So what ended up happening was one of the doctors gave me medication for a UTI, which is urinary tract infection. For those of you who don't know, um, which you can get that a variety of ways. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but basically it's an infection like down there that you get, and it can be very painful sometimes. And I was like, she handed me some antibiotics for it, and she was like, take these for like a week and don't miss any, like take all of them until you get to the bottom, like there's none left. So I was like, okay. And it went away. I did exactly what she said, and the pain and everything went away by the end of me taking the antibiotics. And I'm guessing that's what it was the whole
Hmm.
time. I
That's
was con-
crazy.
I know, I was convinced that she was right, but all of the other like nurses and doctors were like, "We don't know. We don't know what it is." But this one doctor was like, "Yeah, just take these." I guess she was right. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You
I kept
go-
worrying that the pain would come back because I after that I started feeling like a tingle in the same area that the pain had been. And I was like, oh no, like I hope this is not happening again. It never did come back, but that side feels weird now. Like it feels
hmm,
tingly every so often, and it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
I bet.
It
So
it was bad.
you you talking about that actually like allowed me to unsuppress a memory of my actual worst pain ever.
I'm sorry, but please share.
So, okay, there's gonna be so many people who hate this. Okay, so
Is
I
it gross?
don't to men.
Okay. Well,
I
disclaimer, if you're squeamish, maybe don't listen. Although they probably clicked on this expecting it to be at least somewhat nasty because it's tattoos, piercings, and pain. So,
Yeah,
what were you expecting?
exactly. Okay, so I don't have a period
I don't either.
due to medical issues, which I'm not going to get into. So I have this was my first time in 4 to 6 years of not having a period. Now, think about that. That's a lot of buildup. I go to a doctor for that stuff. I get medicine. My first period after that, I was on the couch. I was screaming. I was begging for death.
Mm,
My mom had to bring over some somewhat good medicine just to get me out of pain because ibuprofen didn't do it.
mm.
I
The
mean, this
heavy
wasn't like
stuff.
it wasn't a narcotic, but
Horse pills.
might as well have been. But for like 3 days, absolute pain. Just like I was just screaming in pain daily. Like Brad was just like, "You look like death," which he was sweet. He brought me all my favorite snacks and stuff to help me, but I I couldn't even keep food down. Like I was in so much pain.
Mm.
And it just felt like someone was stabbing as hard as they could and twisting the knife.
That's literally like what my side felt like. I felt like somebody stabbed me, like just shanked me right in the
But then,
kidney.
but it also felt like someone just like jammed their hand into my guts and was just like grabbing and slowly twisting a barbed wired hand
Ugh.
around me.
Yeah. Dang.
It was horrible. 10 out of 10 do not recommend.
One of my other friends has a pretty serious, I won't get into it, but she has a pretty serious like condition. I forgot what it's called, but it's kind of like that where it's like your feminine stuff, you know.
Hmm.
And it's bad. Like she gets sick, like physically can't do anything and throwing up and all that stuff.
Which growing up, I already had like really painful ones
Hmm.
when I did have them. And I would miss so much school because of it. And eventually my mom was like, "You need to get over it. You need to go to school." Little
Get
did she
get
know
over it.
that it was worse than just normal pains.
Yeah, hands down, that was my experience was the worst pain. It was worse than all of my tattoos put together. I pray that that never comes back because I've been like paranoid that it'll happen again, and I'm really
I
hoping it
bet.
doesn't.
I
Oh,
would have rather had a half sleeve done, just straight, no breaks, than deal with that pain I had.
I would have gotten a full back tattoo, no breaks.
I'm pretty
Just
sure a
over
tattoo
that.
on my ribs would have felt better.
Yeah. It went on for days, like literally 2 to 3 days of just throwing up and non-stop pain. It was
I
so bad.
bet. At least you're doing better now.
Oh my gosh. I have never felt like that ever since. Now if I get a little sick or I stub my toe, I'm like, whatever.
Now, if I stub my toe, I'm still on the ground crying.
I'll just be like, ouch. Oh man, this has been a very good podcast.
Well, hopefully, people will find our stories interesting.
Yeah, sorry if we got a bit gross, but I mean,
Eh,
so I guess basically to wrap up here, the new format and schedule of this podcast. Me and Kalani are gonna try and do this every Wednesday. Well, record it Wednesday. I don't know when it'll be uploaded, but I'm gonna try and post an episode of the podcast every single week. If we can't for whatever reason, it's not a big deal. I'm gonna try and bring possibly some other people on the podcast as well. And we're gonna do a different topic each week and try to do it pretty regularly unless something comes up. So,
Hopefully, people can suggest some ideas to help out.
oh yeah, if anybody has any like suggestions for a topic, please leave a comment. We'd love to hear about it. Did you have anything else to add?
I need some Starbucks.
At night?
There is no wrong time for Starbucks.
Okay. I kind of feel that way about boba. I really like boba tea.
Why can there not be a boba place around here?
Oh, we have one. It's really good. I'll have to take you there sometime.
Yes, please.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.